Hi YouTube. I'm going to change the way I do videos. I'm going to start just screen capturing my research. So I started researching the piano after Bill from Occult Science 101 brought it up. And so I guess, I don't know, February, March is when I started doing research. And I had a lot of stuff that is now gone. So, but there's just so much else going on. So let's start with Mozart, because Mozart was the obvious. The piano, you know, the first thing you think of, piano music. Piano, old music, you know, classical music. And one of the most famous pianists, of course, is Mozart. But why Mozart? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, everybody learns who Mozart is right off the bat. Okay? But what stuck with Mozart was the fact that his birthday was the 27th of January. The same day as the piano solved video from Associated Press. So we've got that. That made me want to move on. Okay? And I know, okay, some of you are going to be like, okay, Wikipedia. But Wikipedia is a lot like the group Anonymous, because it is anonymous information. So if there was someone using media to pass messages, wouldn't it make sense to have a one-place anonymous source to get your information? One that does not leave a trail. And I say that because if you check the bottom of your wiki page that you're reading, it'll give you the time that it was last modified. For example, Mozart was last modified on this day, October 8th, 2011 at 15:55. So, just recently. Now, what could we possibly not know about Mozart that he would have to be updated pretty much on a daily basis, if not weekly? I mean, I guess there could be. You could make an argument for that. But anyway, I like how you can just link right on into something else. And it works really well for connecting dots on really well-known people. You know, there's enough information out there on Amadeus Mozart that you can go and find correlations on another site that has, you know, credit. Okay. So here we find down under early Vienna years that his new career in Vienna began well. He performed often as a pianist, notably in a competition before the emperor. Okay? A competition before the emperor. Now this is important because what do you see on TV now? What reality shows are just the most freaking awesome shows on TV according to half the population? You got American Idol, you've got X Factor, and you've got The Voice that didn't seem to do very well, but had Christina Aguilera and the guy that's now on the X Factor and some other guy. But what really struck me was on January 5th on Associated Press, one of the top stories was the golden voice. The homeless guy with the golden voice, okay? So, The Voice, which is a television production, another clue, is where you sing for money. And that's what Mozart did. He sang before the emperor, before the panel. So, and just the name alone, X Factor. I mean, it's just getting so blatantly obvious now that it's scary. It really is scary. And there's a lot to touch on the videos that have been released recently between the top pop artists, and I'll get into that after we finish here with Mozart. So, and as you can see in the part 2 of my videos, you know, Michael Jackson, who could easily be compared to Mozart, because Mozart was known for his style. It was different. It was edgy. He was edgy. You know, that kind of thing. So anyway, Competition for the Emperor. And that was December 24th of December 1781. He had established himself as the finest keyboard player in Vienna. Going down here to the very bottom of this portion of the article, it says on the 14th of December 1784, 227 years, this December 14th, Mozart became a Freemason, admitted to the Lodge zur Hochzeit. I don't know if I said that right. It goes on to say Freemasonry played an important role in the remainder of Mozart's life. He attended meetings. A number of his friends were Masons, and on various occasions he composed Masonic music. And then it says here, see also Mozart. And 27 years ago, this December, he became a Freemason. Okay, and he was promoted to Journeyman Mason on the 7th of January, 1785, and became a Master Mason shortly thereafter. Okay, so according to Otto Erchdouche, I'm not good at pronouncing this stuff, this lodge was the largest and most aristocratic in Vienna. Mozart, as the best of musical brothers, was welcome in all the lodges, and it was headed by the naturalist Ignaz von Born. We'll get into specifics on that stuff maybe later. Mozart's one of the high musical brothers, a Mason, and I mean, you can't get any, it just all fits, okay? So, it goes on, you know, about how towards the end of his life, he was working on a piece called The Magic Flute. The Magic Flute is noted for its prominent Masonic elements. This guy, Schikaneder, and Mozart were Masons and Lodge brothers. The opera is also influenced by Enlightenment philosophy and can be regarded as an allegory advocating enlightened absolutism. The Queen of the Night represents a dangerous form of obscurantism, or, according to some, the anti-Masonic Empress Maria Theresa. Empress Maria Theresa, or Teresa. And as you see here, this is the arrival of the Empress of the Night. Look familiar? Okay. this, gives me reason to look further into this message. So this is what I came across with this. But there was also another piece that he did. And what's wild about this is I just put dots together making this video. You saw the name Maynard Solomon. Maynard, UFC fighting. So who was the big hero of UFC? Oh, before UFC got really, really big. It was Tito. I found this really kind of interesting. Tito is a part of one of Mozart's works called La Clemenza de Tito. Okay. So it was a 2-part opera. It was the last year of his life. Mozart was already well advanced in writing the Magic Flute, which was the one we just talked about, when he was asked to compose an opera seria. The commission came from the impresario Domenico Guardasani, who lived in Prague and who had been charged by the estate of Bohemia. Bohemia. With providing a new work to celebrate the coronation of Leopold II, Holy Roman Emperor, as King of Bohemia. The Grand Poobah, as Alex Jones would put it. The ceremony was to take place on the 6th of September. Gardasino, or how do you say that? Gardasani had been approached about the opera in June. There was not much room to maneuver. Okay, the clue is Bohemia. Alright. Bohemia. Bohemian Grove. The estate of Bohemia. July. Okay, so the piano was found, quote, 200 yards from condos on the shore. Why would they say 200 yards from condos on the shore? They don't even name the condos, but they just say 200 yards from condos on the shore. Well, I just think that's a number, and I think it's a number of days. Because if you take 200 days and add it to July 5th, the original report date, you get, I believe it's July 24th, which is a Sunday, which was the weekend of Bohemian Grove. And just so happened, Alex Jones' show, January 25th, the day of the original report by Associated Press of the piano, you have Brad Meltzer talking about Bohemian Grove. Coincidence? No. Not at all. So, that was very interesting. Obviously, it's Mozart.